Record? Hello. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jamie Lee. I'm an executive coach for smart women who hate office politics, and I help them get promoted and better paid without throwing anyone under the bus. Today, I'm joined by one of my best clients, Amy Scoville, who is a software engineer at a tech company. And Amy and we first met at a self-advocacy negotiation workshop that I led for her company, and we've been working together since. And I think Amy's story of how she was able to implement the tools and the strategies so quickly to make changes in her life and in her career will be really inspiring and insightful for women, mothers, women in tech. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my amazing client, Amy Scoville. Hi, Amy.
Hi, happy to be here.
Yay. So would you share with us where you're joining us from? I'm in New York City and you are in.
I'm in Utah. I'm in the Salt
Awesome.
Lake area.
Cool, cool. And so, what was the problem that you were experiencing in your career before you reached out to me for coaching? Would you give us a quick rundown of that?
Yeah, I came into my career as a software engineer from a non-traditional background. And as a result, I was experiencing a lot of imposter syndrome and felt like I didn't belong or deserve my job. It was impacting the way that I worked and the way that I interacted with my manager and teammates.
Yeah. And how did it feel as you try to solve this problem on your own?
It was really discouraging. I didn't know how to overcome the obstacles because they were in my own head, and I kept seeking reassurance outside of myself, asking other people if they thought I was doing okay, and it just made me feel really unsure all the time if I was actually making progress or not. And it seemed to be a repetitive cycle.
Yeah, especially because we've been taught and trained, socialized to think that we're supposed to seek reassurance from the outside,
Yes.
bosses, colleagues, friends, family. Yeah. So, um, how has coaching with me been different for you as a solution to this problem of imposter syndrome at work?
Coaching with you has helped me understand how I can evaluate my own skills and trust myself.
Mm,
Um, Instead of seeking reassurance and guidance and wisdom from other people and assuming that everybody around me is wiser and more experienced and more knowledgeable about what I need and who I am than I am, coaching with you has helped me to really look to turn inward and to think about, what do I want? What do I have to offer? Why am I unique and valuable and important to this company and to myself in my own life? And what do I expect of myself and others in light of that identity?
yeah. And so, would you share with the audience if there was a moment when you realized that this coaching was working for you?
Yeah, I mean, there have been so many moments, but there was one in particular. I have always been really quiet and passive at work. I work on a team. I'm the only female on my team. I'm the only person who did not go through a 4-year program to prepare for software engineering. And so I have always just deferred to everybody else, assuming that they know more and are doing better things than I am. And I remember one day I had brought up something that I was concerned about with my team, and I noticed that a lot of people weren't engaging in the conversation. And the next day, somebody else brought up the same issue. And in the past, when that kind of situation happens, I have gotten really frustrated and kept it to myself among my team members and then vented or journaled or something outside of work to let go of those negative feelings, but I haven't ever directly addressed that because that seemed really scary and like it wasn't necessary. But after coaching with you for just a few weeks, this came up, and my whole attitude was different. I was like, no, what I brought up was important. Nobody paid attention. We're wasting time because of that. And I deserve respect and I deserve to be listened to. So I very respectfully asked my teammates if they would please notice when they are not paying attention in meetings. And I pointed out that I had brought up a concern. It was a legitimate concern that needed addressing right away, that it hadn't been taken seriously. And then it had come up the next day with more urgency because it was late. And I just made it very clear that we had wasted time, we had lost opportunities because of that, and that I expected in the future for all of us, including myself, to pay better attention as we're discussing things in meetings.
Love it. And so, what did you have as a result? Because you spoke up, you advocated, like you didn't just fold and hide when people weren't listening to you.
I started to notice that my teammates were taking me a little more seriously. When I would bring something up, instead of just moving on, not all of my teammates were changing, but a few of the key players on the team have started to pause and listen and pay attention. I've noticed there's less multitasking going on in meetings in general. And I believe that's a result of having that conversation and just bringing it to everybody's attention that sometimes when we multitask, we lose opportunities.
Right. It can be so simple as just engaging in a conversation.
Yeah.
And that creates the influence, that creates the change and the impact. So, speaking of impact, would you be open to sharing a little bit about the personal impact of coaching for you? Because we started, and if not, it's okay. We can
No,
just
that's
skip it. Yeah, because we met at that self-advocacy negotiation workshop,
yeah.
and you were one of the star students who just right away, when it implemented these strategies, you ran a mile with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there have been actually several personal impacts in addition to the professional benefits I've been seeing. One of them, actually, I have continued to share with many of my friends, is about parenting. So I'm a single mother and I work full time. And sometimes it's really difficult to feel like I'm doing enough in any area of my life, and especially as a parent. And something that you recommended right before Christmas break was allowing myself to feel like what I'm doing right now without any change is enough. And to repeat to myself when I complete something, that was enough. And it turned out that during Christmas break, I had all these grand plans. I was so excited to just engage with my kids. We were going to do all these Christmas activities and we were going to be cozy and just read books and all of these things. And it didn't turn out that way. There was a lot of me needing to rest more, the kids wanting to play video games. And we did a lot of things, but we didn't have this, Hallmark movie break together. And the thing that got me through that and made me feel like it was still a fantastic break was saying to myself, that was enough. And it made a huge difference for me. And I feel like it allowed me to connect with my kids during the time that I did spend with them during that break, because I wasn't feeling guilt or pressure or stress. And it just kind of freed me up to really enjoy the time we had together.
Right, because self-advocacy starts with advocating to yourself a better narrative. about
Yeah.
who you are, what you're doing. And you're like, I'm doing enough. I'm a good enough
Yeah.
mother. Yeah. And that self-confidence gets carried into not just in your personal life, but also into your professional life and vice
Yes,
versa.
absolutely.
Yeah. Love
Yeah.
it. So, how is your career different now that you are working on, so, you have tools to solve the problems that you had before coaching?
I feel like my career has completely shifted. I haven't seen quite yet any real change in my manager or my promotion track, but that's because I'm still learning how to work with my manager and how the company works. But what's changed for me is that I feel empowered to ask the questions that I need to ask to find out what's available for me, what's fair, and it has completely shifted the power from, I was giving the power for my career and my potential to the people that I report to. And it
Yes.
has shifted that power to me.
Hmm.
And I advocate for myself. This is shocking to me, but I will go to meetings with my manager and brag, tell him all of the things that I'm doing and why I'm valuable and why he should be glad that I'm on his team. And I surprise him regularly now he, because I was so quiet and passive, he didn't know what the kind of work that I was contributing on the team.
Yeah.
And so it just feels like I am at the helm of my career now instead of
Mm.
somebody else.
Right. Right. And when you have that power back, when you see yourself at the helm of your career, of course, you're going to figure out the next step. Of course, you're going to
Yeah,
figure out how to get promoted, how to get a raise. I mean, it's all in the works.
exactly. And I think
Yeah.
something else that has been really helpful is when I was giving that power to the people I report to, I felt like I didn't have options. I felt
Mm.
like I was a charity case and I had to hold on to this particular position or I wouldn't have anything else.
Mm.
And when I felt like I took the power back for myself,
Hmm.
I started to realize that maybe I'll make a change here in this company, but maybe my choice would be to go elsewhere where I'm more valued or where my skills will be utilized in a more complete way.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that is also empowering. It feels exciting that I can make that choice without fear.
Right. Making that choice not from a place of, oh my God, what if I'm not good enough? But instead, I am good enough and
Yeah.
I have options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am good enough. And if that is not recognized by the people I currently work with, that's not my problem. I don't have to change that for them.
Hmm.
And I don't have to put up with it. I can go
Yep.
somewhere where it is recognized.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You have choice. Love it. Okay. So, um, what do you think is the advice that you would share? Let's say there is another single mother out there who works in a male dominated industry and she's also struggling with imposter syndrome and feeling like maybe she's not doing enough at home, at work. Like, what advice would you have for that woman out there?
The first advice I could think of is go to Jamie. But I also,
Thank you for
if
the endorsement. I appreciate it.
yes, if she did not have the opportunity to go to Jamie, I would
Yeah.
also say that it's important to, well, it's okay to recognize your own strengths and that you are the person who knows yourself best
Mhm.
and you are the person who's going to be able to advocate for yourself
Mhm.
best.
Yeah. I so appreciate you sharing that. Is because for us women, we have been socialized to think that it's somehow not safe to recognize our strength. It's more
Right.
safer, it's more polite, it's more humble, it's more likable to cut ourselves down, to discount ourselves, to
Yeah.
apologize. And so no, it's actually safe. It's harmless.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and I think something important also, when you pointed that out, that doesn't feel safe, is it's not going to feel safe before you try it.
Yeah.
I continually, it's getting better and better, but
Yeah.
it has taken me doing it despite feeling unsafe about it
Mm, right.
to realize it is safe. I'm keeping myself safe.
Yeah.
It's okay and acceptable for me to be my own advocate and to brag.
Yes. Yes. It only feels unsafe because it feels uncomfortable because of the old programming that we haven't yet quite rewritten yet. So
Yes,
we're like, oh, no, I'm not going to die.
right, exactly. I'm not going to get fired.
I'm not going to get fired for telling them, bragging about what I've done really well because it benefits not just you, but the team and the people who work with you to know what is going well. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Amy, for sharing that. And I just want to point out behind me is this poster that I made. It says, nothing bad
Oh,
happens when women have more money. It's like nothing bad happens when women own their strengths, because when you own your strength, that leads to having more money because you're advocating and
yeah.
speaking up for yourself. Amy, I really want to acknowledge you for your courage, because that's what you're talking about, right? Taking action even when your brain's like, it's not safe to
Yes.
take up space and brag and be proud of my strength. That's courage. And I really want to acknowledge you for your courage and for your generosity. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your insights today. I
Thank
appreciate you.
you.